Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nabs Effect podcast. I am your host, Naveen Gaglani. Good morning, actually. We are recording this 12:48 a.m. Thursday, December 12th. A few hours following one of the craziest, most unpredictable, insane UAAP games ever. Um, Definitely want to remember. Kind of game that one day in the future I'm gonna look back on and I'm gonna be like, wow, that was a crazy, crazy game because of all the theatrics, how the game ended, and what it took to get there. Everything involved: the fans, the players, the coaches, this growing rivalry, a chance for a championship on the line. It's got all the ingredients you need for a wonderful finals, and that is what it's turning out to be. Just an absolutely wonderful finals. VAP basketball. Ever since the game ended, I've been excited to have my drink. I got home, finally got some food in me, then rewatched the end of the game and some highlights. And now I'm ready to talk about it a little bit. So first, mm, that's good. That is very good. Well-deserved glass of wine for a busy day. We'll get to the UAP topic, but first, a quick word from our friends over at Finn Cotton.
I want to say congratulations on all your success.
Congrats to Finn Cotton Sneakers.
Para sa lahat ng mga kababayan natin dyan, Disenyong Pinoy.
Disenyo ng Pinoy para sa Pinoy.
Dinisenyo ng Pinoy para sa Pinoy.
Dinisenyo ng Pinoy para sa Pinoy.
Disenyong Pinoy para sa mga Pinoy.
One of the best seller nila sa Fin Cotton, napaka-quality.
Napakasarap po sa paa. Halos parang natutulog lang yung mga hinlalaki ko sa paa. The best. Fin Cotton is the best policy. Nobody's perfect.
Thank you, of course, our friends over at Finn Cotton. We are doing another shoe giveaway. I think we already have a winner. Someone was the closest one to predicting what the final score would be. He said DLSU 76, UP 73. He was just 2 points off on UP. And congratulations in advance. We'll confirm this tomorrow just to make sure that no one else had a closer prediction to the final score. But yeah, thank you to Finn Cotton for providing us with giveaways. I'm going to ask my friend Paul if we can get a third shoe to give away for game 3 because I think an epic game deserves an epic giveaway, and that's what you're going to get with Finn Cotton. All right, so if you guys listen to my podcast episode following game 1, this quote unquote instant breakdown, well, to be honest, not super instant because it's been a few hours, but hopefully it's the kind of podcast many UAP aficionados will want to listen to or watch on Thursday morning. I swear, it feels like it was a Sunday, but it was a Wednesday. That's what's crazy, right? Insane game, insane ending, insane emotions all throughout the contest, start to finish. And you have to go to work tomorrow or school or basically, yeah, do what you have to do. And I'm guessing you guys are going to want to consume content. And why not? Articles, social videos, podcasts. So thank you for dropping by if you are. The truth of the matter is, I don't even know where to begin. Like, where do I even start? Because I felt like what you see in 20 different games happen in this one game, right? The ebbs and flows. LaSalle starting good early. Mike Phillips playing absolutely incredible basketball. And then UP sticking close. Kind of like the first half of game 1. And by the time the third quarter rolled around, UP flipped the script. And then they took the lead. And it looked like it was going to be similar in the fourth period again as it was in game 1. However, this time around, LaSalle goes in the late game rally because, In basketball, and I hate to just simplify it this way because obviously there are like 1,000 different things happening within the concept of the game in each game that gets you to the final result. I mean, so many of us look at basketball as okay, it's black or it's white. You know, you won because of this, you lost because of that. But in reality, hoops, basketball, whatever you want to call it, is a series of, like I said, 1,000 different things happening leading to the next sequence. A missed assignment here, a missed rebound here, a missed open pass here, a jump shot here instead of driving in. All these little micro decisions, the game within the game, within the game, within the game. I sound like Mike Brown yet? Within the game, within the game, within the game. All of that is related since there are 10 players in the court, coaches, guys in the bench, people in the crowd, and it all comes together into yielding a final result. And that result on Wednesday was LaSalle tying the series at 1-1. Kevin Kimba was the best player on the court, though, especially in the fourth, especially in the fourth winning time, money time, some people would call it. And like I just said, so many things happen in the basketball court, like Mike Phillips doing the unglamorous aspects to help LaSalle win, or Josh David with defensive pressure, or EJ Guliena playing above his years, showing maturity you don't always see from young guys, even some vets who are placed in this type of situation. But ultimately, Kevin Kimba was the best player in the final quarter for DLSU. He was responsible for the team's last 8 points. The team's last 10 points, LaSalle, were scored by their two MVP candidates, the two leaders of the MVP race, Kimbao and Phillips. It started with an insanely difficult hook shot that Phillips scored about 13, 15 feet against QMB, who we all know is not an easy person to score against. And then Kimbao hits a step back three over Jacob Bela, who, you know, all credit is deserved for Bela for what he did in game one. And he tried his best in game two. But sometimes, no matter how good your defense is, if the offensive player is a beast, you just can't score. You just can't stop the scoring sometimes. KQ hits a step back over him. And then that cut the lead 73-71. In what felt like doom and gloom and agony and many upcoming sad nights for the LaSalle crowd, the people in the DLSU community wearing green and white, that was what it felt like was in the air as UP took the lead in the third quarter and looked poised to win a championship. KQ hit that step back three, cutting the lead to 2. It changed. What do they call it nowadays? The energy shifted. Then I believe right after that, LaSalle got a stop. KQ gets the ball. QMB ends up guarding KQ top of the key because the play before that, Phillips, and I believe it was David, blitz Kagulangan in the pick and roll, and it led to a numbers advantage for UP, with QMB rolling to the rim. But I believe the ball, if I'm not mistaken, ended up with Lopez or Abadiano in that moment, and one of them missed a shot. And QMB ended up trailing the play. Kevin Kimbao was also trailing the play. He got the rebound, gave it to David, and you just saw him like desperate for the ball on the way back. He felt it in his hands. He wanted to let that shot go. Didn't matter who was guarding him. KQ gets the ball out of the key, squares up. QMB is the last trail defender because he was the one who rolled all the way to the rim on offense. Puts a hand up and actually does a good job contesting the shot. Miss JD3. Thank you, Nico. Thank you for confirming that. Yes, that was JD taking the triple after the short roll, the pass. So QMB defends defends KQ. KQ makes the shot. And some say it might have been a foul. I thought it was good defense. But again, that's the game within the game, right? UP has a numbers opportunity. QMB rolling to the rim. Not able to capitalize. He ends up guarding KQ. And when you put a big man trying to guard the wingman, sometimes the wingman has more space than you think to take a 3-point shot. So KQ gets the lead for LaSalle. And then right after, I believe LaSalle was in a zone, but somehow KQ ended up guarding QMB. QMB, simple, efficient, high IQ hoops. Turns around, left shoulder, hook shot. And the way the ball arcs when he takes those free throws is insane, okay? Insane. It goes in. And just like that, the LaSalle, by the way, Boom Gonzalez, shout out to my guy Boom, and also Diego Dario, who were incredible. I watched them on the replay. When I got home, they did a great job in the broadcast. Boom was basically like, okay, sometimes commentators, after a big shot happens, a big play happens, they like to feed into the hype. I thought at that moment, Boom Gonzalez did a good job just kind of staying still for a bit and basically saying after a few moments, look at the LaSalle crowd or hear the LaSalle crowd. And they were exploding. And then when QMB hits that shot, deflates, right? And then right after that, so simple but so effective, Goliena, who is being guarded by Lopez, Phillips being guarded by QMB, a cross screen underneath. So it's simple. One guy screens for the other, cross underneath near the rim. And then Phillips uses the screen from Goliena to try to get away from QMB. And ideally, in that situation, it's a switch, especially if you can't recover in time. That was the first mistake that Francis Lopez made, in my opinion. He wasn't, or maybe the communication wasn't there between him and QMB. But then Francis, for a moment, doesn't see Mike cutting. KQ right away notices the opening, gets it to Mike, just like that. Sal gets the lead again. And I think Francis, kudos to him, really wanted to make up for it. Gets to the free throw line a few times, ends up missing like 4 free throws. And he also has a turnover on the pass attempted to Kagulangan, who you have to give Josh David credit for. Josh David might not always get the steals, but you will never see him leave the side pressuring the other ball handlers. And he was trying his darn hardest to make life hard for Kagulangan. JD was just playing really well. Didn't shoot particularly well from the field. Second straight game, 5 of 16. But you just felt the big shot he was hitting. Francis tries to make up for it, misses 4 free throws. Like I said, the turnover. But LaSalle's returning the favor. I'm looking at the stats here for the first time, really. LaSalle shot 10 out of 23 from the free throw stripe, including 11 missed free throws, apparently, in the fourth quarter. I'll have to double check that. UP from the free throw line, 16 of 23. Not that great, but better than what LaSalle shot. Imagine that. Both teams, against the face of pressure, put everything on the line with an insane crowd that at certain points looked like it was going to erupt. They missed free throws. They gave into the pressure. I mean, maybe sometimes the ball just bounces a certain way, but the pressure, I guess, got to some of them. Not just Francis and not just UP. LaSalle, too. LaSalle was bad from the free throw line. KQ went... it was like the UE game all over again. Good thing this time for LaSalle, they won, but KQ missed 2 free throws down the stretch. Mike missed, I think, 4 free throws in the fourth quarter. EJ went 1 of 2. Austria missed 2 free throws off an unsportsmanlike foul. And at that moment, you're like, when you're watching it, you're thinking, if you believe in superstitions, is this just not meant to be for LaSalle because things are going UP's way? But somehow LaSalle still won, despite the 10 of 23 from the foul stripe. And I'll tell you what, if they didn't win that game, if they lost by like 1, if Jerry Abadiano, who by the way played really good as well, if Jerry Abadiano makes a championship winning shot, the Kagulangan Destiny shot 2.0, for the rest of their lives, diehard LaSalle fans who watch that game are going to wonder what could have been had they just made 1 extra free throw or 2 extra free throws. And that is the curse of loving sports sometimes. You could be casually sipping your vino, chilling at home, and then a memory just comes to your mind. Oh! For me, it's like, goddamn, Why if Jimmy Butler just made a 3-point shot against the Celtics in 2022? What if they faced the Warriors? They could have beaten the Warriors, won the championship. By the way, I'm not buying into the Jimmy Butler trade rumors. Okay, guys, chill first. You're doing good. Back to the main point. If those free throws cost LaSalle the game, for the diehard fans, that's something they would have never forgotten, something they would have had to live with for the rest of their lives. But that's just how the ball bounces sometimes, and it bounced LaSalle's way just a certain, maybe extra step more in game 2, and they tied the series. And I was having a conversation with my wife who was watching the game with me when I got home. She was like, wow, LaSalle got really lucky, especially with the way Francis was missing free throws and some of the turnovers of UP. And I was like, that is true. You need luck sometimes. You need the ball to bounce your way lucky sometimes. However, sometimes you just have to put yourself in the position to be lucky. Sometimes you just need individual heroes who can transcend even what we already thought was a high level of greatness, to take it higher, to be more excellent, to put yourself in the position where you can be lucky. That's what Kevin Kimbao did. He's a legend. This was a legendary performance. At some point there in the third period, it felt like JD Kagulangan was taking the mantle of who was the MVP of the league from KQ just for like a few minutes there because of the way JD was playing and looked like he was closing the series out for UP. Fourth quarter, I remember KQ starts off by driving to the rim. It was one of the few times I was like, wow, he's driving to the rim, because all series long, this UP defense has, to give them a lot of credit, really confused them. There were 2 turnovers there in the third period consecutively. First, the traveling where it looked like he was trying to get a foul. And then I think an errant pass where I'm like, is the UP defense getting to him, confusing him, making him double think himself? And in the fourth quarter, you saw Kimbao at his best, which was basically the Kimbao that a lot of people I think have been waiting for since the series started, which is give me the ball. I'm not going to overthink. I'm just going to go and do what I do best. That's what he did in the fourth period. Okay, let's get to some stats now. Didn't really get to study this earlier, but I want to go through it now. So 25 out of 68 for UP. That's 37%, rounding off. And I noticed this too. 9 out of 30 from 3 for UP, 30%. And people who watch the NBA and see the three-point revolution in the NBA will be like, 30% is horrible. But in Philippine college basketball, especially in the finals, in a game that's physical, and considering how bad UP has been from 3 against LaSalle in previous games, that was a major victory. And that 3-point shot really kept them in the game in the first half and also allowed them, especially with Kagulangan's 3 triples, to take the lead in the third period. The last few games, I know last game UP shot like 4 of 21, but the last few games combined, they were like 7 out of, it was, I believe, somewhere around 9% in a lot of attempts, like about near 80 or somewhere there. I have to double check. And finally, their 3-point shooting came back. And it was helping them. It almost got them through the finish line. Like we mentioned, 16 of 23 from the foul line. 37 rebounds. I thought, and 45 for DLSU. I thought that was very notable. That was something the eye test also showed. 45 to 37 rebound advantage for DLSU. They were more aggressive on the boards, including 14 offensive boards that led to 9 second chance points. Assists, 12 for UP, 12 assists on 25 field goals, so less than 50% of their field goals were assisted. For LaSalle, 19 assists on 30 field goals, so more than half of their shots were assisted by a teammate. Turnovers, UP 15, LaSalle 17, fairly even. Points off turnovers, though, UP 16, LaSalle 9, so UP took better advantage of the LaSalle turnovers than LaSalle did to UP. Kagulangan, 16 points, 5 of 16 from the field. He was struggling early in the first half, missing some shots he normally makes, but he really got it going. Lopez, 16 points and 16 shot attempts, 4 of 8 from the free throw line, 6 3-pointers, 2 out of 6, 2 turnovers, 4 blocks. Was a +5 on the court, though. And In that first half, when Mike Phillips was imposing his will against QMB, which I have not seen any other player do to QMB so far yet this season, Lopez was humongous for UP. He had 12 points in the first quarter alone, including 2 3-pointers and 2 and 1 plays. And he was making some good defensive plays. And he was essential to keeping them going early on. So was this guy, Jerry Abadiano, 16 points on 5 of 13 shooting from the field. Drew 7 fouls too. And trust me, there were so many like reviews it felt like in this game for sportsman like fouls and whatnot. QMB 11 points, 4 of 4 from the field. I think what UP wasn't able to do so well this game was to get it to QMB for more paint touches and post touches, but you also have to give LaSalle credit because each time QMB looked like he was going to try to score in the post, LaSalle was doing a good job sending weak side and help defenders to try and get the ball out of his hands. Did have 8 rebounds, was a +7 when he was on the court. 3 assists, 3 turnovers. Raylan Torres, 5 points. He was ejected from the game, so under league rules, that means he'd be suspended for his team's next game, which would be game 3. But of course, that's still subject to an appeal from UP and then further evaluation from the commissioner's office. So we'll just see what happens there. Harold Alarcon, 5 points, 2 of 7 field goals. He had one really good mid-range shot in the fourth against KQ's outstretched arms, which felt like one of those UP daggers. But if UP wants to win game 3, I feel like he's the guy they need to step up further. Because if you look at the rest of the bench, Torcula's 2 points, Kingsley Odudo 2 points. Those 2 free throws he made though against pressure, I have to give him props because he hasn't taken a lot of free throws or gotten a lot of playing time this season, but he stepped up to the free throw line and made both very good. Gianni Stevens, 2 points in a short stint there in the first half. Not a lot of minutes for Felicilda, just 6 minutes for Bela because the defensive impact wasn't the same as what it was in game 1. And for Teya, 4 minutes, 0 points. See, LaSalle has used a lot of zone defense against UP this season. And this game, if I were to guess, it was probably 60% zone, maybe more. 1-2-2, 3-2, some 2-3. They were mixing it up. Give Topex and his staff credit for the defensive philosophies they were employing. Fortea's the guy I feel like that could be essential to breaking that zone because he is a knockdown shooter. But whose minutes also are you going to give up to play Fortea? Because in this game, JD is obviously JD. Abadiano was playing really well. And Alarcon had 24 minutes. I think Fortea maybe deserves a little more run just to see if he could break that zone. I understand he might not be the same defender as the other guys are, but also at the same time, UB was close to winning this game, so maybe their current formula is working. But he might be one guy that could potentially help them out if they need more 3-point shooting in the next game. For LaSalle, I should give credit to Raven Gonzalez. 8 points in 10 minutes, 2 boards. He had some timely shots, those floaters, those drives to the rim, the layups, much better than what he performed in game 1 and limited minutes too. I like that Topex decided, I'm going to trust you some more. I'm going to trust you even more than I did in game 1 and try to contribute what you can. And when QMB was not on the court, even some stretches where QMB was on the court, Raven stepped up. He's never going to be like the fastest guy to move his feet laterally. So if you make him defend like Francis Lopez out in the perimeter, it's not going to be good for him. But he can block shots. He uses his hands well. He can rebound. And he has that floater that honestly is very important for offense when LaSalle's offense is stalling, which it has a few times against UP. Austria, just 5 points, but I felt like his impact was actually important. Not a great first half, but that fourth quarter, that breakaway layup that led to an unsportsmanlike foul and one. But ironically, he also got called for an unsportsmanlike foul. I thought was huge in the run. LaSalle wouldn't have completed the run without him. Leon Ramiro, I thought, had some good defensive moments, but on offense, there were some pretty tough stints there, including that one of obvious offensive foul against Abadiano and the rush 3-pointer. I'll tell you this, Matthew Rubico, Topex, out of nowhere in the fourth quarter, decided, let's play Matthew Rubico. And the guy ended up playing like almost 5 minutes in the fourth period. he changed the energy to some degree. He wasn't like a major game changing impact type of player today, or rather yesterday, but he changed the energy. And sometimes you just need to change the energy. Much better game from Makalalag, 9 points, 3 of 8 field goals, minus 13. I know that it doesn't look good, but that's one of those stats this time that I think doesn't truly reflect his impact, because he had some timely shots, like he had a timely putback, the timely 3 pointer in the fourth quarter. I like that for him. The early struggles shooting did not totally impact him, and he stayed aggressive. Another tough shooting game for Josh David, 1 of 6 from 3 points only, but 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and some hard nosed defense. And Josh David might not always be the biggest scorer, but he can contribute in other ways. In game one, that wasn't apparent, but here in game two, he did contribute in other ways. And Phillips was sensational. He set the tone, I felt, early for LaSalle. He really did. There were some nerves from both sides, of course, starting the game. And Phillips has this demeanor and aggressive way of basically playing like, I'm going to attack QMB. I'm going to go against him, use spin moves, go into his chest, try to score on him, trust my floaters, which he has been working on and he's gotten very good at. That was very important. That set out the tone for LaSalle early, especially because Topex made a move of having KQ come off the bench instead of having Mike come off the bench, which was the case in game one. It worked, and Mike towards the end was big time too. Had 4 big points. Yes, he was 0 of 6 from the free throw line, and that's obviously very tough to look at. But it was the one blemish in his performance that you could really point out to. Only had 1 turnover this time. Rebounded 12 times. I thought he did a better job than QMB did on the boards. Although QMB had some big time offensive boards, what Mike did as well with 5. And 18 points and 9 out of 14 shooting. That's big time from Mike. EJ Goliana, again, this guy continues to be absolutely fearless. 9 points. He had a really tough looking spin move and floater right after UP took the lead at one point, which was like, whoa, cojones, bro. And I'm going to give him mad props because after the game, I asked him for an interview of a story I'm going to do where, EJ, how are you so fearless? You were in the finals last season, but you weren't getting so much playing time. And now here you are. Look, he played 23 minutes, more than half the game. I'm like, how are you ready? And he's like, bro, you know my story. He mentioned he has a kid coming, a baby boy coming soon. And sometimes when you know you're about to be a dad and you have a kid and that becomes the best blessing in your life, everything else doesn't seem so scary despite the moment. So props to EJ for that because he stepped up, he's stepping up, and without him, LaSalle wouldn't be where they are. So here we go. Game 3. Insanity. Who do you guys think will win? Because it could be anyone for me at this point. I'll tell you this though. There was a moment there, fourth quarter, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one who felt this. I'm sure many of you who are listening to this podcast or watching it, or just someone, if you just someone who likes UAP basketball, where you're looking around, 2 minutes left, 1 point game, finals, everything on the line, legacy, championship, awards, history, stories, moments to tell, memories to cherish, everything on the line. Everything can change just like that. You could go from pure ecstasy to pure sadness with the bounce of a basketball, a single bounce of a basketball sometimes. And I looked up and I see crowd of maroon here, crowd of green here. Fans cheering their hearts out, just embracing and enjoying the moment, and the players giving their all, and the coaches giving their all, and the members of the broadcast and the media and everyone involved into making all of this happen, giving their all, but also embracing the moment and enjoying what's in front of them. And for a second, I allowed myself to look up and be like, God, thank you for my job because I love this. It's magical. It's beautiful. So whatever game 3 is, whatever happens, whether your team wins or your team loses, or maybe you're just a casual viewer, take a moment to look around and appreciate what's in front of us. whether you're watching at home or live, especially if you're watching live. Because trust me, moments like game two, moments like game one, and I'm sure moments in game three, you might get to watch it on replay or on your phones or your screens over and over and over and over again, but it will never ever be the same as it is witnessing it live, because you only get to do that once, just one time, one precious time. If you get to watch game three, again, whether you watch it live or you're watching it happen with everyone else in the world on your screen, cherish it, enjoy it. We don't get the UAP often, and we don't get incredible teams playing an incredible series this often as well. So be grateful and enjoy it. And then watch what will be a kick ass game between two teams who both deserve to be noted as champions. Good night, everybody, or shall I say good morning? I'm going to enjoy this. And I'll be seeing you more in the podcast leading up to the decider. Peace. Much love, everyone.